Hello, welcome to Simple Washoku. Today we're talking about mirin. Mirin is a seasoning you can find in almost every Japanese kitchen. But when I asked people around me here in America, many of them didn't really know what mirin was. So today, I wanted to test something simple. What actually changes when you use mirin? And can you make a good teriyaki sauce without it? Even some Japanese people might think, isn't soy sauce, sake, and sugar basically the same thing? So today, I made 3 different teriyaki sauces. One with authentic Hon Mirin, one with sugar water, and one with white wine. My daughter tasted all 3 and picked her favorite. Could she actually tell the difference? Let's find out. First, let's make authentic Japanese teriyaki sauce.
Let's go.
If you're buying mirin, look for Hon Mirin. Real Hon Mirin contains only 3 ingredients: glutinous rice and rice shochu. That's it. No corn syrup, no added sweeteners, no artificial flavoring. Many products labeled mirin-style seasoning contain sugar, corn syrup, and other additives. They may taste sweet, but they're not traditional mirin. After a few minutes, the alcohol cooks off, leaving behind a gentle sweetness, beautiful shine, and deep umami. One thing I find interesting about mirin is that many Japanese people use it all the time, but rarely stop and think about what it actually does. I was the same way. I've cooked with mirin for years, but I've never compared it side by side like this. So honestly, I'm curious too. Will the difference actually be noticeable? Or are we all just paying extra for tradition? And that's our first sauce finished. The sauce is starting to thicken. You can see the shine developing already. This is exactly the texture I look for when making teriyaki sauce at home. Not too thick, not too thin, just enough to coat the food evenly. Next, let's replace mirin with sugar water. The soy sauce and sake stay the same. Only the mirin is replaced. This is probably the easiest substitute. It adds sweetness, but sweetness alone doesn't always create balance. To be honest, this is probably what most people imagine mirin is. Sweetness. That's it. And honestly, that's a reasonable assumption. Because when people taste teriyaki sauce, sweetness is usually the first thing they notice. But sweetness and flavor depth aren't always the same thing. That's what we're testing today.
Let's go. Let's go there.
白ワインを白ワインを入れて醤油を
こんぐらいね。
Sauce number 2 is ready. Finally, we're moving on to the most controversial version, white wine. I've seen this recommendation online many times, and I've even received comments asking about it. So I wanted to test it for myself. Can white wine really replace mirin? Or does it create something completely different? White wine. Today I'm using Sauvignon Blanc. A lot of people ask, can I use white wine instead of mirin? So let's find out. Just like before, I'm combining it with soy sauce and sugar water, then reducing it until slightly thickened. As this cooks down, I can already smell a difference. The aroma is much brighter, more acidic, more wine-like. That's not necessarily bad, but it's definitely different from traditional teriyaki sauce. The question is whether that difference is an improvement or a compromise. And now all 3 sauces are ready. And here they are, 3 sauces, made with almost identical ingredients. Yet each one represents a completely different approach. Traditional Hon Mirin, sugar water, and white wine. Now comes the fun part. At first glance, they all look surprisingly similar. But flavor is where the real difference appears. This one was made with authentic Hon Mirin. The sweetness is gentle and natural. Nothing feels overpowering. The soy sauce, sake, mirin work together perfectly.
これ
If I brush this onto chicken or salmon, it would enhance the ingredients rather than cover them up.
やっぱ
どう
The sauce made of sake and sugar water. This one isn't bad at all. In fact, it's probably the best substitute if you don't have mirin.
これ
But compared to the first sauce, the sweetness feels stronger and more direct. It lacks some of the depth and complexity that real mirin provides.
最後これワイン
Last one, the sauce made of white wine. This one surprised me. It wasn't terrible, but it tasted completely different. The acidity from the wine stands out. Instead of tasting like teriyaki sauce, it almost feels like a different sauce
こ
altogether.
れか
Personally, I wouldn't choose this option.
どれが好き
And now, the moment of truth. Which one did my daughter choose? She picked the authentic Hon Mirin version. The same one that was my favorite too. So, do you absolutely need mirin to make teriyaki sauce? Technically, no. Sugar water works reasonably well. White wine can work in a pinch. But if you want authentic Japanese flavor, real Hon Mirin makes a noticeable difference. Sometimes, the traditional ingredient became traditional for a reason. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Are there any Japanese ingredients, cooking techniques, or food myths you'd like me to test next? Maybe another seasoning, maybe another Japanese recipe, or maybe something you've always been curious about. Leave a comment below, and your idea might become a future Simple Washoku video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe, please.